All right, so some applications of the Stirling cycle. So in the 70s, it generated some interest as a what's called a micro combined heat and power unit. So basically, in Europe they were talking about providing or as having for purchase either companies or homes, basically these small like home-sized Stirling engines that ran off of diesel. They said it would take about like a half a liter of diesel a day, and you could power your whole house and heat your house because the Stirling engine it would provide electricity, but then also the excess heat it would give off was then could be used to heat your home. So this company called Whispergen developed some small home use ones, and they were actually able to. The average household was able to produce enough electricity to actually sell back to the grid and make some of their money back. And then another really cool use of that I was reading for Stirling engines was this company MSI based out of Korea. They were developing Stirling engine powered fans for their microprocessor units. So the microprocessor, like the chips, as they would run, they get hot, and then that temperature differential could be used to then power a Stirling engine. And then that Stirling engine would run a little fan, which would then cool down the chips, and then that process could keep going. So you essentially it was an efficient way of cooling down the chips because you didn't have to use any extra electricity or heat. You were just using your excess heat that was going to be wasted anyway. And then, so then using that same idea, I was reading some ideas that you could use that excess heat that a lot of power plants today, like those smokestacks that come out of it, that's just water vapor that's hot. But you can use that temperature differential to then power a Stirling engine. So for a nuclear power plant, it produces a lot of waste heat. So you can then use that waste heat to power a Stirling engine, which then you could be used for various applications. Like I saw one where they could be used to desalinate water, and seemed like a pretty good idea. And then again, they looked into a while ago using them as engines for automobiles. But the weight, just how heavy the engines had to be to how much power they were providing just didn't make it realistic. But there's a few applications I know Germany, they developed a few test models for submarines because the weight didn't make as much of a difference because you're in the water. So they were able to have a Stirling cycle on board, which then was more efficient and you could use less fuel. And another cool idea they were using for Stirling engines was they had them in solar power plants. So the initial solar power plant, usually you'd heat up a bunch of water, it would go run a turbine. But they were saying you could use that same process where you set up a bunch of mirrors, focus it on a bunch of Stirling engines, and then that temperature differential again would be then used to power the Stirling engine. So you had a renewable source of energy that could just keep going, and it was pretty efficient.
So yeah, there's a lot of different applications. Like we said, it's environmentally friendly, has a really high efficiency, but due to like the power to weight ratios, right now it's only like smaller projects like the homes or the power plants. So maximum performance is achieved with the lightest gases, and there was even an engine developed in the United States and the Netherlands that low power lightweight engines would possibly be used for a space application. And then something really cool is that the reversed Stirling cycle, like when you reverse it, you could use it for cryogenics, and it would act as the cryogenerator to produce extremely low temperatures to liquefy gases like helium and hydrogen.